cold pressed through a straw on a warm summer day. Hey everyone, I am Stone, the board lazy genius, and today I'm going to talk to you about even more changes for what was once Creepy Assassin's Story Cube, then became a Magic Cube, and now will be becoming a ImagiCard. So the background on this is that we found out, we don't really always keep up on news that well. I mostly rely on Greg, my design partner at Creepy Assassin, to inform me about news in the world because I'm kind of a shut-in even when it comes to information. But we found out that a Magic Cube, or not a Magic Cube, that Rory Story Cubes had been sold to Asmodee. The product line was sold from Creativity Hub to Asmodee, and that we would need to be talking to Asmodee about whether or not we could still use them in our game. And we intended to, even when we changed the title and some of the format of it. We wanted to keep using Rory's Story Cubes as kind of the driving mechanical force because they're a really convenient source of just basic, easy to interpret images. The problem with that is that after a bit of back and forth and roundabout, we finally got a hold of the right person, and we talked to the licensing coordinator over at Asmodee, I believe North America, but it's all one company, more or less, about whether or not we could do this, and the answer was essentially no. I imagine the answer would have been different if we actually had money to license it, but we just don't. We were just hoping to get permission to mention it, and we don't have that. So we thought about it for a little while, and we decided, well, fuck it, we're gonna make our own. So because we can't, we don't have a 3D printing station or anything, we're changing it from a Magic Cube to a Magic Card, and we're gonna be making cards. This is an early run prototype. Basically, I have a bunch of these actions. We're going to have 3 different sets. It's going to be action, thing, and world to basically go with 3 of the major components in what was the Story Cube role-playing game and now will be the ImagiCard role-playing game with our 2nd edition. Although I guess it's more of a new edition, a remake of the game more than anything. But we're going to have those 3 sets that are available at the back of the book as images that you can roll dice to get. And then also as downloadable cards you can print yourself, and as premium printed cards that we're going to be selling in small batches ourselves. And these are each just images that'll be hand-drawn by me, and ultimately, here's one. There we go, try and get in frame. So this is an action card. You can see up top here it says action, so that's the type of card it is. Down here we'll have the number and the addition, so this is alpha. That's barely visible, but that's actually a little alpha symbol. And on the other side, this is the first card in this set. So you have just a little leaping guy there. And each one of these has a name internally that we're giving them. But we're not going to include the name with them because we want it to stay just as interpretive as any kind of image dice would be. So you have things like, that leaping guy, you have a thought bubble, you have one dude pushing over another dude, or a lady, whatever your case may be. Maybe they're omnigendered super beings, who knows? But they're pushing each other over. We have a few more advanced things, like that's a guy powering up, kind of anime style. You have that sort of looks like something being caught, and that's the intention. That's supposed to be like maybe a ball being caught, but you can use it for like trying to catch bullets or whatever. But yeah, the idea is that they all stay pretty interpretive, and in case you need something that's not covered, we have blanks where you can draw in your own doodles. And yeah, this just has a basic background right now. This is the back side. We kind of modeled it after playing cards, as is pretty evident. But yeah, this will be a ImagiCard, and it's the action set of ImagiCards that this will be coming from. So basically, we're going to have these cards available for play with the new ImagiCard role-playing game, and these will be the ImagiCards to go with it. And the game is going to be redesigned completely around these images and the idea of using these cards. So basically, the way that you'll be playing the game now, when it releases later this year, will be that instead of rolling some kind of image dice, you'll use these cards, or you'll roll normal dice and consult the last few pages of the game book to determine which images you got, and then you will interpret them the same way that you did with the old game. Another component of this is that we've been asked to please stop, basically. We haven't been given a cease and desist, which I'm hoping to avoid because I don't really know how those work. So instead, we've been asked to stop, and we're going to stop. So starting this week, I will be methodically, there we go, got it out of my face. Pronunciations. We'll be methodically discontinuing all of the Story Cube, all of the first edition products, all of the adventures, all of the core book, both physically and digitally. So they're all gonna be just stopped being sold. We're gonna be changing over the website portion that mentions it to be more of a historical portion that talks about what we made, because we don't really want to turn our back on that. We did make it. We're very proud of it. But unfortunately, because of licensing issues and sales of intellectual property and that kind of thing, we just don't have access to Rory's Story Cubes as a design mechanic anymore. So we will be making our own, and we'll be going forward from here. We're going to start designing the Thing cards, and then ultimately the World cards to release at the same time as the core rulebook for ImagiCard, the role-playing game. And we'll be releasing different sets as they become necessary more than anything. Essentially, every time that we design a new setting, we'll be releasing a set to go with it. So let's say that we make a cyberpunk set, well then we'll have our cyberpunk setting, then we'll release a cyberpunk set of cards to go with it. And those will be the same thing, where it'll be at the back of whatever rulebook they're introduced in. Also available online to be printed, downloaded and printed if you want, and also available in printed form that we premium print for anybody who wants us to do that. And this is pretty nice. This is pretty basic 100-pound cardstock, just a little glossy. I believe this is text format. No, this must be cover. So basically a 100-pound gloss cover. Anyone who's done a lot of printing is pretty familiar with that standard. It's a nice sort of basic card that's used for a lot of sort of thinner play cards. Business cards are printed on this a lot of the time, and I actually have access to a place that can print those pretty nicely. So that's what's changing. Other than that, not a lot of new to update on the now ImagiCard game, besides the fact that we're switching 2 cards. You can still obviously play with whatever type of dice you want, or randomizer. I mean, we've tried Magic the Gathering cards, works pretty well. Tarot cards works pretty decently. There's a bit of limitation because there's only so many images, though if you mix a bunch of different sets of tarot cards, that works great. Certainly Rory's Story Cubes will still work if you want to go that route. If you have a set, you can home rule that. Storytime dice, that's another set of image dice that works great. But essentially, ImagiCard's going to be redesigned around our own products, all produced in-house. These cards are actually going to be really nice when they're done. Right now, the images are all drawn by myself, but ultimately, we're going to keep the doodles. We really like the doodle style. It's very like basic and minimalist, which is great. But ultimately, the words, the action there, and the letters at the bottom are actually going to be calligraphied by Celeste Lovecharm, my wife. She actually does some really good calligraphy. The back side is going to be calligraphied, and I'm probably going to go on ahead and hand draw the design for the back. I want like a completely hand-drawn minimalist feel to the final product. So it's going to have a really nice look for people who are into that kind of minimalist style. So yeah, I guess that is about it to notify everyone on. We'll be having some more information coming out about this in the next month, some more prototypes to show off, probably start getting ready to release some more information on the final game, though to be honest, it's really just a rehash of the old game. It's more or less based on the same concepts. We have a lot of the same terminology, a lot of the same standards, and for anybody who really liked the settings that we introduced in the previous edition, in the Story Cube edition, we actually will be rewriting a lot of those. We're definitely going to stick with Heroes of the Tortoise. We both, Greg and I both really like that setting. It's a great basic superhero setting that kind of gives you the best of all worlds. You have the happy-go-lucky superheroes, and you have the dark and brooding superheroes all in one setting, playing off of each other to some degree, which is a lot of fun. We're probably going to discontinue the Wizard University just because it never really took off much, and it's one of these settings that's just kind of played out. There's just so many wizard schools. If you want a wizard school game, you can find one, no problem. We got a couple of others that we're planning on releasing, a couple of spy ones, just a lot of cool stuff. And then from there, we're going to be doing a few one-offs here and there based on ideas that we have, and the previously mentioned quarterly releases of new settings, just whatever ideas pop into our head. So, I guess that is it for updates on what's happening with what will now be the ImagiCard role-playing game and Creepy Assassin in general. See y'all later. I feel like is my version of test, check, 1, 2. Mm-hmm.